Okay, lubrication of a Farmall 300. This tractor has been in my family for about 60 years. As far as I know, the tractor was made in about 1955, in that era. And this tractor didn't get much love over the years, so finally getting to the place where I want to get it fixed up and a little bit more reliable. And we'll start off with, I think, the grease zerks, and they're just all over the place. I'm probably going to miss a couple of them somewhere, who knows. But starting at the front of the tractor anyway, here's one right here that's on the steering gear, lubricates that bearing. And around the side, there's two of them on the water pump. One right here, and one actually is on the rotating assembly of the fan. I don't know if you can see it there or not, but anyway, so there's two grease zerks right there. And over on the left side still, right below the starter, a couple of them on the clutch and the torque amplifier linkages, one there, one there. One on the clutch pedal axle right there. Hard to see, it's dark in here, I'm sorry. Okay, both sides of the rear axle have a fitting. Back here, if you've got a drawbar of this style where this got this roller going on, there's one there. Not one on the other end. Okay. The power take off shaft lever. It's got a grease zerk right there. There's the one on the other side of the axle housing. Ones where you'd never think that there would be is like right on this three levers of this hydraulic control. There's a grease zerk right there. I bet you that thing hasn't been greased in 60 years, I'll bet. Okay, the brake shaft has a grease zerk on it. Over here, a couple that go internal, and I think these might be clutch throwout bearing, or at least one of them is. Anyway, you got one of them there, one of them there. And one that you just wouldn't have any idea was there is this one that's behind the shrouds. It's right here. And what it is, it's a bearing for the steering gear. There's a U-joint right there, hard to see, but the U-joint's probably the lubricator for life type bearings. But here's one right there. I bet you, again, that thing probably hasn't been greased in who knows how long. Now on the lubricating oils, kind of what started this project off was I pulled the side shrouds off to get the radiator shroud off so that I could check the steering worm gear level up here. And when I took that cover off the top of the steering worm gear, there was basically no oil in it, just a little bit of residual oil. That gets 2 pints, I believe, of 80W90 gear oil. Down underneath the tractor, the transmission takes 7 gallons, and it was specified as 80W90, I think, but most people are just putting High-Tran or something like that in it. So there's a drain plug right there, and that's kind of to follow it down right at the end of the starter. Underneath, there's a drain plug right there. I think that drains the torque amplifier area. There's another drain plug right there, right underneath the center of the rear axle. You drain that out, and then there's 2 level fill plugs. One right here, again right below the starter, and another one right here. So you refill your transmission with oil by taking this cover plate off. I've heard some people say they've got like a pipe plug, but this one here's got a cover plate right here by the gear shift. You take that plate off, stick a funnel in there, dump in 6 or 7 gallons of oil. Okay, now back on the PTO, final drive housing, whatever you want to call it. You can drain your oil right here and then put 2 quarts of 10 weight oil back in there. Again, I just use High-Tran. Now, the hydraulic system itself, it's right here. And here's a drain plug right here. If you're going to drain it, take and pull the filter screen out, clean that out. You might want to have yourself a gasket for that in case you damage the old one. And then you fill it right here, and there's a dipstick on there. My book says 13 quarts, and I don't know, it must have been a different hydraulic system or whatever, but I got about 6 in it or so, and I was full. Then the engine oil itself, it doesn't have a spin-on filter. It's got that rascal right there with a rubber O-ring on the bottom, so you can find those off the internet if you do a search for oil filter for Farmall 300. Typical place you'd expect the drain plug to be, right underneath the oil pan, and it's got 2 petcocks right there and there to check the oil fill level. And I bet you what, I'll bet you I've missed a grease zerk somewhere, but that's what I know. Now, if you go to the effort of taking these shrouds off, if they've been on there a long time, they're going to be a son of a gun to get off, and you might end up damaging some of the hardware. And what holds them on are 5/16 28 National Fine Thread fasteners. Not real easy to find. And I went to the IH dealer. These cost me $6 a piece to buy new ones. I found some 5/16 28 National Fine capture nuts off of eBay. They are hard to find too. But what I'm going to do is take all the old hardware, run it through a die to clean up the threads. And I've got a tap to put in my drill to run back through those capture nuts and clean them all up so that stuff works good.